What's going on, everybody? It's Top Bets. We're checking back in. We got the Genesis Invitational on the PGA live stream coming at you guys here on a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday evening. Got my man Bet with the Boys, aka Teaser Nation. How are we feeling tonight, buddy?
Good. I'm ready to get to a new week. I know you're happy for the outright you hit last week. So congrats to you on that. That's two long shots pretty much for the pod this year. What was that, 80-1, right?
Yeah. We got two. You had Harris English at what, like 110?
110. Yeah.
110-1. And we had Thomas Detry at 80-1 last week. And I was telling Teaser, I forgot I bet him until like Friday or Saturday. And all of a sudden I'm watching and I was like, it's no big deal. Whatever. Detry's running away with it. I got no shares of him, Didn't do him at one and done. Didn't do him DFS. All of a sudden I was like, oh crap. I bet him outright. I totally forgot. So it was pretty wild. But part of me was like, he's going to get caught. Berger was up there. Spieth was coming up. Something was going to happen, but he pulled off the victory pretty soundly on Sunday. So overall, though, that the waste management was pretty lackluster event in my opinion. I thought the field was extremely weak. Like if I didn't hit that outright, I thought that tournament was kind of blah. What do you think about that?
No, I agree. I think they hype it up too much every year. They don't get I know a lot of guys have been hurt or sick the past couple months, but yeah, they didn't get it. They don't really get the elite fields anymore. A lot of guys skip it. So I don't know. I thought it was not as great as well. And then, not a good finish. But for you, that was probably one of the most non-sweat outrights I've ever seen. So it wasn't really close until, Berger kind of came within 3 at one point, but Detry was just not making any mistakes. So
yeah, then I was more sweating the Super Bowl by the time that rolled around. And then that was a disaster. So that was fun. All right. Well, if you haven't tuned in yet, we will go over the Genesis Invitational. We'll tell you what stats to look for. We'll go through the course. This is a course change this week, so heads up to anybody playing DFS out there or betting. And we'll go through our outrights that we're determining to play, kind of picking, piggyback off one another. Give out some top 20 plays that we like. And we would normally do matchups. For whatever reason, they don't have the matchups out. I might have Teaser read off some from Bet365 and we'll throw some out there for everybody. And then we'll give, I know a lot of you guys DM me about one and done. So we can give out a recommendation of who we're going to play for one and done as well. But yeah, otherwise our cards are posted every Wednesday evening over on X. And all the social medias. And then we have our respected Discords as well. I'm in the Sharp Bros Discord. Shout out to all of the cappers over there. And we got Teaser in Bet with the Boys, golf. So how's that going for you guys? Good?
Yeah, it's good so far. We got a couple, yearly guys who, get every card. And then we'll do a couple weekly guys who pay here and there. But so far, the loyal guys, been a good year so far. So
yep. Yeah, and I'm due to hit a damn 3-ball. I went 3 of 4 on Sunday. Doug Gim absolutely screwed me. As soon as I sent you that card, you were like, Doug Gim, don't do it. I was like, I like him. Come on.
Had him top 20. He couldn't make it. I had every one of my top 20s finished, I think, like 49th last week. So it was insane. But
I had Batia, who was coming up and then just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into it. We got the course change to the Genesis. Usually is at Riviera with the wildfires or everything going on in LA. They decided to move it to Torrey Pines. As you recall, this was where the Farmers Insurance was played 3 weeks or so ago. And they utilized the South and the North course. This one, with it being a signature event, I think there's only like 70 or 80 people in this field. They are going to only utilize the one South course, which is the harder one of the two. And if you guys remember, back at the Farmers Insurance Open, Teaser nailed Harris English plus 110 or plus 110 outright. So we got a good grasp on what it takes to win at Torrey Pines. There's a couple different factors. I think they've tried to change the course up. So I'll let Teaser break it down and see who we're going to target, what attributes and what stats we should look at when you're looking at your models.
Yeah. I mean, we did this 3 weeks ago. So I think this week they let the rough grow out a little more. So it's going to be a little harder. It's definitely an emphasis of putting in the fairway more. Hopefully it doesn't rain too much. I think there's going to be rain on Thursday, Friday. So hopefully that doesn't affect, the waves. And then really there's a lot of par fours over 450 yards. So 7 of those par threes over 200 and 2 par fives over 600. So the 2 par fives aren't really gettable, mostly 3-shot holes. And then emphasis on long irons beyond 200. And then I guess my highlight player based off all this probably will be Morikawa. I'll talk about him a little later. Calm courses here, obviously Torrey Pines South, the lies are bad in the rough, so you got to hit the fairway. Thick and penal, firm, hard, and it's hard to hold the greens as well. Course comps, there's Bethpage Black, which will be the Ryder Cup this year, Winged Foot, TPC Harding Park, and Quail Hollow in North Carolina, I think, where the PGA Championship is this year. So really key stats: driving distance, strokes gain approach. Probably going to see a lot of short game this year. This time around, and then 200 plus proximity as well. So.
One thing to note on the weather as well, it's going to probably rain it's been raining, or it will rain Wednesday. It's going to rain on Thursday as well. Be a little bit more windy on Thursday compared to the rest of the week. So you could see guys get off to a pretty poor start and then take off there on Friday. But I think the golf course will play even more advantageous for guys who carry the golf ball further as they hit it, rather than the guys who let it ride out, obviously with the wet conditions. So I would go carry over accuracy on this, or carry over a lot of the other ones off the tee. But and then the rough. So I think I saw Ben Griffin put out a tweet of a video. It literally plugged the ball down and you couldn't find it. And this is exactly how it was when we played it several weeks after the tournament, after the Farmers Insurance last year when we played. Is they didn't cut it, so it's 4 inches or so deep rough. So I truly think it's going to be pretty chaos, and they always wanted to make the Genesis more difficult, kind of leading the difficulty up to the start of the majors that we'll get into in April and stuff. So I expect this golf course to play very, very difficult. With the loaded field, you're going to see the best of the best get challenged this weekend. So let's dive into some outrights that we are looking at. Some guys, there might be some guys that we rattle off here that don't get to our card over the course of 24 hours. We look at it and we just say, hey, that wasn't the guy. But it looked good in the stream. So make sure you guys are checking back through our social medias before you guys make any bets. So who are you looking at the top of the leaderboard? We have not a crazy number anymore on Scotty. He's plus still 400.
Crazy. Yeah.
You can still get some value there at plus 400 instead of plus 270 like it was last week. So we got that right. Even though if you played DFS, you still had to have him in your lineup to be worth a shit because he's still got top 10.
Yeah.
But this week, plus 400, what are you doing with Rory and Scotty at the top?
I mean, I don't think obviously Rory wins back-to-back, starts. So I probably won't be on him this week. Obviously Scotty, I still probably would never bet under a 10-1. That's just, I don't know how I do it. I just can't see as much value there. So, I mean, I don't really have my card set yet, but where I would start at the top of the board, I already mentioned him, is Morikawa at 16-1. That number is still there. Hasn't gone down. So I believe all sites have 16-1 still. But like if we go through the model, obviously he's going to rank out there in the model. He usually does. I think he's fourth in the model here. Really, if you kind of scroll, through the right here. So there's a strokes gain total. There's 4 strokes gain totals to the left. We put in, course history, course comps, and then the strokes gain total 10% is on difficult courses. So really, he just kind of is top 10 in all of this. I think he has a 4th here in the U.S. Open when it was played here in 2021, a 3rd here 2 years ago, and a 21st in 2020. So he's kind of the guy for when it's difficult conditions, need to keep it in the fairway. Hopefully, the rain kind of doesn't affect him with, carrying, because he's not the longest hitter off the tee. But I think usually he's steady in difficult conditions, also in California where he feels at home. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Morikawa. Only he's gotten longer off the tee throughout his career. That's my only concern with him this week. But obviously, he checks a ton of the boxes here. So I mean, I don't mind you starting your card off with Colin. I see no value with Scotty or Rory unless you take them outright. Obviously, the top 10s you could take, but they're minus 250, minus 165. So those are out of the picture. The only other way to do it was kind of like last week, where if you got some good solid value on Scotty in the later rounds to come up the leaderboard, that was. But even then, the books just do such a good job of not allowing you to do that. So I mean, I think it was Thursday or Friday. He was so far down the leaderboard, but he was still like top 5 to win the tournament, because they know that they know he could do it. And with that weak of a field, and they were still putting him at a reasonable number to take some action, but not get overloaded by a ton of it. So that's probably where I'm going to go. I'd probably lean Rory over Scotty this week in DFS. It's a great pivot in my opinion, because Scotty's 12-3. You got Rory at 10-9, and you're at half the ownership with Rory to Scotty. And I mean, both are in great forms, but I kind of would say Rory's in better form right now than Scotty. Hot take, but I really like the way Rory plays this golf course. I think he's got like 4 or 5 top 10s here, and half the ownership, about $1,400 less salary wise. Definitely a good value there for Rory if you want to start your card there. But I'm probably passing on Thomas this week. Matsuyama is up there, but I do like Ludwig at 25-1, even though he is still, I think, lingering with some type of flu issues. But then the other guy that I like is Sungjae at 35-1, who plays this golf course pretty dang well. He has 3 top 10 finishes, 2 top 5 finishes. Just got a T4 with the Farmers Insurance 3 weeks ago here. Just like Colin, I think he can make up with what he loses off the tee with how accurate and close, because you got to remember these greens are very, very small, and they're one of the smallest on tour, if not the smallest on tour. And the approach shots, I kind of pointed out, you really want to have the long, heavy hitters this week, but you're obviously around the green, and approach shots are going to be huge too. So Morikawa, to Caesar's point, you got Sungjae, to my point, 2 of the best approach hitters in the game. So can't go wrong with both of them. I obviously will take the 35-1 number here with Sungjae, but I also want to say his top 20 at plus 100 is very, very intriguing, because that's literally what he's done 3 of the last 4 times that he's played. So, and the one time, and the one he missed, he was terrible at putting. He lost almost a stroke and a half on putting. So as long as he putts well, his approach game, gained 2 plus, and 2, and then about a half of one and then around the green as well. So he's got it all. So I like Sungjae 35-1. You got any other ones you're looking at the top of the leaderboard?
Honestly, I guess Aberg. I mean, I probably won't take him, but just because based off, I don't know where he's at with, the issues. Obviously, honestly, if I rattle off like Cantley, Fleetwood, Rasmus, Finau, Pendrith, like that 40-1 range is like sucker. There's no value. I personally don't like Fleetwood and Lowry. They're not winning, right? They don't win. So I don't understand why they're up there. Honestly, I probably would, the next game I would look at is Zalatoris. I think he's 31st in the model. I got him at 50-1. I gave it out, I think, yesterday morning. He's at 45 now. This is kind of just, he hasn't really been, I know he withdrew from here a couple weeks ago, but I mean, it's always like a play at Torrey for him. Obviously second here to Luke List in 2022, a 13th last year. I mean, it's really just the difficult conditions. We know he's a grinder. This is another course where like putting's not going to be a big thing, where it's going to be a birdie fest. So he's really good at scrambling for pars when needed. So yeah, I like him. I think hasn't really been doing much. Tied 12th at American Express, so he hasn't really played Pebble Beach. I think he was a little sick there, so hopefully he's feeling a little bit better as well.
But the MO with Willie Z is, long, tough, hard courses. That's what you play him at, and that's what we're going to get here. And yeah, he hasn't been playing great, but you're also getting a pretty good number here at 45-1. So what did I kind of Rasmus? I'm probably going to be off of. I called that last week. I
was very wrong about him. I kind of didn't really know his game, and now I guess he's a good fit here because now I watched him last week, and
the reason for being off him is not because his attributes fit the course. It's more of just the number that you're getting, 35-1. And I think you're still going to get some. I mean, he's 8,300 coming in at 20% on DraftKings. So, I mean, like everyone just saw him play last week and was like, wow, it's the prototypical. You want to be early to the party. And if you're not, don't jump on this week because he's probably not going. It's a way better field, one. And now you're getting 20% ownership in DFS, which last week, I can't remember what it was, but it's not even close to 20%. There's no way. So that it just screams, it screams chalk and stay away from it in my opinion. But he can come out and light it up. He does definitely have the capability here, as obviously we saw last week with the distance. But I think I'm going to go back to Finau at some type of DFS play, because I don't think his ownership is like 10% right now. So I think he's a great pivot because he's at 8,200 and Rasmus is 8,300. So a lot of it's going to Rasmus. I think if you pivot to Finau, who's done, I think he's got pretty good stats here overall.
Yeah, he's pretty good here as well. He's
really good here.
Yeah.
I mean, besides got cut. But if you remember the Farmers Farmers Insurance, it was you got like there was a bad draw to it where it was really, really, really windy, and he got the short end of the stick there. Plus, he lost almost 2.5 strokes on putting, which is insane.
That's the MO with him.
But if he putts well, he's got everything else that checks the box, especially off of the tee approach. Yep. Just if he putts, I think that's a great pivot from Rasmus there. If you want to take him 40-1, very, very good number there for Finau. What do you think about Spieth this week, coming off of that pretty good outing last week?
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess like if you look at the waste management now, it kind of makes sense why he plays there so well, because I mean he did drive it well. I'll give him that. Like he played really good, but like even if you miss there, you're not really in trouble. Like you're just in the desert. If you don't miss on the side of the water, you're fine. So it makes sense why he plays well, because you can still spray it off the tee and play good. But yeah, I mean the drivers looked good. I personally don't like them here with thick rough, and see how that wrist holds up. Kind of want to see more form from him.
True.
I mean, yeah. So I think Waste Management's always a good spot for him. He just felt comfortable there. Just kind of want to see more form from him before I can kind of take him for anything.
Yeah, and he did point to the weather in his in a couple of his post-round interviews. And for those new at golf betting, golf DFS, like it's kind of like when you're in the NFL, you're betting the NFL, and you hear coach speak, and you hear. I don't think it's as much like that at all in PGA golf, because it's these guys literally telling you where they're at in their game, and some of them will be brutally honest throughout the whole round, throughout their whole season.
Yeah.
And Spieth literally came out last week and was like, "It's warm out, and it helps my wrist flat."
Yeah, it's not going to be warm out this week, I don't think.
You're low to mid 50s here with rain. I mean, with thick rough, like you're saying. I think he's an ultimate fade with Spieth. It probably won't see my card, won't do anything with DFS. I think he is, he's coming in at 10% as well. So not too much ownership. I wish people would go back to him because he's such a big name. But I think the field's gotten a little bit smarter for DFS. But yeah, total fade there for me. As we go down the leaderboard here.
I'm going to say on the contrary to that guy, if we'll talk about one guy just kind of leading into that topic is Hovland. That's one guy. If he says his game sucks, you take him because he'll drop a 9 under the day after he says his game sucks.
Please tell me he said his game sucks right now.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find that so I can take him. But I personally, I see 50 to 1 on him. I mean, personally, everyone's starting from like Cantley down to him. I prefer Hovland over any of those guys, honestly. He has a little bit of win equity. We've seen him win, seen him do it. He's probably one of the elite players. It's kind of mental. He just is he's a stickler for changing his swing. That's kind of why he's been, dropping down the leaderboards lately in the odds market. So it's really, difficult conditions. We've seen him contend at majors in difficult conditions. Comp courses, he's top 5 here. Difficult conditions, top 30. And then strokes gained total course history, he's top 30 as well. So I think his game kind of fits here off the tee. He's one of the elite players. It's just a matter of, where his game's at. I'm usually never right about him. So we'll see if I can be somewhat right about him this week.
But again, it's the number. That number at 50 to 1, I think that's a good number for a guy that can potentially, you could see him in the final group and you're like, yeah. I could see it.
People got 60 at the beginning of the week too. Like it's been down from that. So even 50 is, I definitely would take that. Anything under that, maybe lay off, but
he's definitely one of the highest line movers.
Yeah.
The other one was Cam Young, which makes sense with the ability to hit the ball long and carry, but if you want to bet Cam Young, go right ahead. If not, I'd rather you just donate to your favorite charity instead of donating to FanDuel or DraftKings. But with Cam Young, it's a roller coaster, that's for sure.
Yeah, so both those guys sitting at the same price, him and Wyndham Clark. I know Wyndham started at 100 to 1 this week. I saw people hopping on that line. He's now 60, which is crazy. Good for the people who hopped on it. I still don't think he's going to win. Like, I enjoy getting a good number, but I'm not putting it on Wyndham Clark. Same, kind of in the same spot right now. I think Wyndham was a little bit of a flash in the pan. That's my take on him when he was winning last year and 2 years ago. I don't know. I think Cam Young had a good finish last week, so that's why everyone's going to hop back on him.
Yep.
I don't know. He's a little too inconsistent, man. I would know. I've been on him the past 2-3 years. I'm trying to get his first win, but it's not coming this week. So
definitely do not take his outright. I'll tell you that right now.
But our top 20, if it's a good price, maybe, or even Wyndham top 20. Yeah. But even another guy in that range, I personally like over these two guys is Russell Henley. Yeah. I'm going to probably take him top 10 at like 330, a little over 3 to 1. He's trending top 5 Pebble Beach, top 10 at Sony. And this is a guy you honestly wouldn't think he's like he's a birdie fest guy. People probably think that if you kind of look at Russell Henley. But if you look at the strokes gained here, I think difficult courses, he's top 5 in the model on difficult courses the past, I think, 36 rounds. Comp courses, he's 11th. And even course history at Torrey Pines, he's 14th. He got, I think, a top 5 in the U.S. Open in 2021. So he's a guy, he's not obviously long off the tee, but, the long irons are probably top 10 on tour when you look at Russell Henley. So I think he's one of those sneaky grinders you can kind of get obviously don't take him to win because he's not going to win. Just do the top 10 because we know Russell Henley. So
yeah, I think this 4,000 range to 6,000 range is probably
very good. Yeah.
I think this is where you could see a winner come from, in my opinion. So the other one that I'll give out here on the stream that I like, who's played this course for like 15 years straight and knows it pretty well, is Keegan Bradley. And I was on him last time here, top 20. He got T15 at the Farmers. So 55-1, pretty good number here for a guy. If you want to take his top 20, I think he'll be in my top 20 once again. But multiple top 10s, multiple top 20s, and plays the course well. So that's another one. Any long shot ones that you're looking at?
So one top 20. I have one top 20 locked in yet, and I have Adam Scott at like plus 170.
Ooh,
if you pull up the model, he's top 7, I think, in the model. Strokes gained total was last 36, 6th. Around the greens, always good. Strokes gained total, I believe, course history at Torrey Pines, he's top 4.
Yep,
7
he's really, model. Yep.
Yeah, he's really, across the board, strokes gained total, difficult, top 15. So in the model, he kind of checks out. And one key thing is he didn't play well at Pebble, but he came in 22nd because he shot a 64 on Sunday. So that maybe he found something and he's kind of trending in the right direction. So I think he can contend this week, has great course history when he plays here. Hasn't played much, but a top 10 and a second place finish. I think he's a good, even at 70-1, if you want to take a stab at his outright, I could see him winning. So
I do like that. The one that I was looking at down here, 90-1, some JJ Spawn. Only reason why I say this is because of his off the tee. I don't think he does too well here. He does have a T15 out to the Farmers. He's got a top 10. Otherwise, he's a bunch of cuts because he's terrible at putting and around the green. But if he can clean that up, I think he's a good contender for a sleeper. The other one, I already talked about Keegan. But let's see.
Yeah.
Man, I'm really bummed about Billy Ho. He really, really pissed me off last week about being so bad and got cut. I kind of want maybe Justin Rose play that long hard course with the coastal player there with Justin Rose at 120-1 there. But I mean, if you how about Max Homa? This is insane. Just going down the score, the card of the outrights, 150-1 for Max Homa. I was on his top 20 last time when he played here, and that was horrifically bad read on my part. But
he's bad.
How the mighty have fallen for sure.
Yeah, there's something up with him. Like I know he's working on his swing. Like I don't think he's gonna cut. He just needs to figure it out. I think he's gonna miss the cut again this week. It's just you can't be working on your swing and playing these type of courses like we saw him last week get exposed even at Waste Management again.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't touch him. I would say another risky guy.
I mean, look at his approach. Sorry, just look at his approach. His last three times: minus 2.4, minus 1.2, minus 2.4. That's on his approach, and that's what he's that's phenomenal at.
Yeah.
And it's just someone that's just completely lost it. So stay away from Homa this week.
Yeah.
What were you going to? Sorry.
This is kind of another guy who's like he's not in the panic mode as Homa is right now, but it's Matt Fitzpatrick at 101. I don't know why that's like it's kind of drawing me in or something. But it's really just the strokes gained total difficulty that he's top 25. Strokes gained total comp cores is top 15. Has 0 recent form. This would just be like a little sprinkle long shot. As a guy who we've seen win a major, we've seen play, like he plays well Bay Hill every year. Like this guy can, grind with the best of them. So I don't think the game's there, but like it's always a good flyer, 100 to 1, maybe get him in the last group or something.
Are you going to go back to your boy Harris English at all? 80 to 1?
I was going to say, man, if anyone hit that me, let's just throw $5 on him, give him a nod. But
you might as well, right? Yeah. You might as well. You're playing with house money.
Yeah, he's. We saw 3 weeks ago. I mean, he loves the course. He's one of the. Obviously, that was a much weaker field, so I don't expect him to win again. But I mean, if you want to look at a top 20 or a top 10. I don't mind Harris English. So
yeah. All right. So we will go through our matchups round by round and our Discords. If we had them up, or actually, do you have a couple from Bet365 you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, let me look through. I haven't really gave it a look. Let me see real quick.
But we will have in the Discord, we'll have 3-ball parlays. And any single round matchups that pop up that we like will definitely be in there. So we'll go from there. But yeah, otherwise, I think we got a pretty good understanding of the outright card for in the top 20s, top 10s, how you want to attack, and DFS some different fades and who you should pivot off of and whatnot. So I think it's a good overall field. It'll be one of the better events that we see this year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good. I think it's probably going to be one of the elite guys this week again. Signature events usually kind of bring the cream of the crop up there. So I think like you said, we could see the 40 to 60 range as well. There's some good guys in there. Mm-hmm. So either one of the elite guys or that range. And then if I'm looking at these aren't great matchups on Bet365, so hopefully we get some better ones on DraftKings. But we got, if you want to do a Detry fade this week, we've got Keegan Bradley over Detry at -110. I don't know if you want to get in that in front of Detry right now, but it's always.
Hey, Detry did what I needed him to do. He can be dead last for the rest of the year. I don't care.
Yeah. Now that's crazy. You got his first win too. That always feels extra nice when you get someone's first win.
Yeah. When you get Cam Young's first win, that'll be the day. That'll be the day.
I miss it, man. I think I'm going to quit betting golf. It's going to hurt me. That's going to hurt me.
Oh, yeah. If we both miss it, I mean, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? Watch it be this week. That'd be terrible. But if we do see it, you know where you're going to sprinkle it throughout the match. So
for sure. Yeah.
All right. We'll get up out of here. We appreciate you guys tuning in for 30 minutes or so, letting us blabber about golf this week. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments below or DM us at our respected social medias. But for myself and Teaser, we wish you guys the best on your tickets. Make sure you guys follow us and tail our cards tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys tuning in. See you guys.